Well, hey there, you're on the internet, I have some free time, and welcome to the Triple N Network, where all you newbie nib nerds can find all the news you'll need. Let's look at an ink today, shall we? Now, today's ink is by Diamine, here in the 30 milliliter bottle. Not today, camera, come on. Any second now. There we go. Ruby. It's a dark pink, more than a light red, which we will see in the tests. All of the tests were done with this Sheaffer 100 with a medium nib, and it is a very standard medium. It's definitely not wet, it's definitely not broad, it's a nice even pen. Unlike this pen, which is a JinHao X450 with a really wet and a really broad nib, and I really, really love it. But I know that's not always fair, so anyways. Thought I'd compare it to some other Diamine reds. We have Ruby up at the top, which is definitely darker than Classic Red, which is an embarrassment. Wild Strawberry, which has like a poppy, orangey, pinky thing going on. Matador Red, which is a beautiful, nice standard red. And my dogs are freaking out. Syrah, which is definitely a dark red wine. And Oxblood, which is ox-bloody. Yeah, so let's check out the chromatography. As you'll probably see, not a lot of potential for water resistance. Most of it is just going to wash away. It's a very light sort of carnation pink at the bottom, darker pink up at the top, and it's only really at the edge that we see a real genuine red. So, yeah. Top down in density, Clairefontaine 90 grams per square meter. I just want to show you how beautiful the shading is in this wet JinHao. I mean, look at that. Look at how dark and rich and deep it gets. And just, God, it's gorgeous. I love that pen. And then there's, you know, the Sheaffer, which is nice and medium and moderate and perfectly good. So the wet JinHao took 21 seconds to dry, and the moderate Sheaffer took 17. Yeah, I said a very dark near red, which is more of a pink, which really sort of comes through. It's a dark pink. It's a very dark pink. Yeah, no sheen, no halo, no bleed feather spread, but this water test is really something. Most of it's gone, sort of. It seems like most of it stayed on the page. It just spread out a little. It's very messy, and the writing's very patchy, and yeah, so. Next is Rhodia, 80 grams per square meter. Again, come on. In the JinHao, you get this great dark richness and this shading, and you start to get a little bit of a halo effect. You still get some in the Sheaffer, but again, that's a pretty moderate, even thing. The Sheaffer took 9 seconds to dry. The JinHao took 17. However, I scrubbed through the paper in my trying to be an idiot. Yeah. No bleed were reasonable. No bleed feather spread. Still a dark pink, which I feel like is pretty noticeable. Again, it dyed the page a pretty serious amount. Most of it's gone. Yeah, so except where I'm an idiot. Tomoe River Paper, where again you get beautiful shading, you get some nice halo effect. 12 seconds to dry in the moderate Sheaffer, 24 seconds to dry in the wet JinHao. I thought on here it looked more like a weak red than a dark pink, which I'm going to try and get on camera. It really does look like, yeah, just more of a weak red than a pink. Yeah, no sheen. There is some halo, which is kind of nice. No bleed feather spread. The water test is pretty messy. It's pretty gone. Yeah, that's not actually bleed through, it's just very extreme show through. But, yeah, except for those stupid scrubbies, the echo isn't too bad. Camera, what are you doing today? Jesus. Next is 20-pound copier paper, where it took 4.5 seconds to dry, and I feel like we're back to that dark pink. Seriously, camera, get yourself together. Go home, you're drunk. Anyways, there's some bleed, definitely some feathering, a lot of spread. So all of this test was written with the Sheaffer, and yet when you compare the line width, it is an extreme difference. So yeah, all of this was with that nice moderate Sheaffer, and it's still, okay, best water test we've seen so far, but it is fairly light, it is fairly explodey and feathery, and it did dye the page a bit. But the bleed could have been worse. There's a couple dots here or there, so maybe a fine nib or an extra fine nib would do even better. Again, just the Sheaffer was used here on Mead Notebook Paper, where I feel like we're back to that really dark pink. It took 4 seconds to dry. Said bleed but could have been a lot worse. There is some feathering. There is a tiny bit of spread, but really not as bad as we saw before. Yeah, again, a fine or an extra fine probably would have done better. Water test is, yeah, it's explodey, it dyed the page, but it's kind of there. And see, it could have been a lot worse. There's like a couple dots here or there, but really not too bad. And last is Moleskine notebook paper. Again, only the moderate medium Sheaffer was used, except to write that, but I did that for like impact. But anyways, moving on. 7 seconds to dry, which I really can't explain because it obviously seeped in and got absorbed because there's feathering and like a woolliness and blah. But anyways, still a dark pink. God, I hate this paper. Explodey, feathery, dyed the page. Most of it's gone, but yeah. That's more shading, or that's more bleed through than I like to see on such a moderate medium. I mean, that is really not a wet nib. So, there you go for your consideration. Diamine Ruby. It's a dark, dark pink that is very nearly a red. Yeah. For your consideration from the Triple N Network, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching. Bye.